Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Irene and today I'll show you how to make beautiful Christmas tree from some dollar store trees. First, I didn't know how many trees I'm gonna need to get a fluffy and nice tree in the end, so I bought as much as 5 trees, one a little bit bigger and the other smaller ones. And in fact, I'll be using 3 trees here, and the resulting tree will be just the same size as smaller trees I used. You can use more if you want your tree taller. So the first thing to do is to disassemble all the trees. The twigs on these trees are simply tied with a thread to a metal tube or stem, so I'm untying the twigs and I'm gonna save the threads. I'll be using them later when reassembling. I'm also arranging all the twigs according to their size so that not to get confused later when I'm reassembling. After everything has been disassembled, you can proceed to reassembly. What I didn't like the most about these trees was that they had all single twigs without any embranchments. This is not how real trees looks like, so I'm gonna try and fix it. I'm taking the shortest twigs and dividing the pile in half. I have here 10 of them. Accordingly, I'm gonna take 5 longer twigs and attach these short ones. I'm selecting 5 twigs of suitable size and making kind of fork out of them. 2 small twigs go to the sides and the large one in the middle. I wind small twigs with a thread that remains from disassembling the tree and fix it with a dot of hot glue. I'm doing all the same with larger twigs, then even larger ones, and so on up to the longest twigs I had. I'm gonna arrange them in a bit different way. In total, I ended up with 6 sizes of compound branches. This is enough for a small Christmas tree, about the size of original trees I had bought. To make your tree taller, you're gonna need more branches, probably 10 rows for a 30 feet tall tree. Well, of course, if you want a really bushy, thick and fluffy Christmas tree. To make the branches as thick as possible, before collecting I tried to fluff up and straighten each twig, and in the place where I tie the twigs together I bend the needles down so that later they cover the threads. The places where I'm tying the twigs are still quite noticeable, of course, but they'll be covered by snow. I also tried to hot glue some needles over the threads. This also helps to hide the tie. I'm selecting the size of each row very approximately. The length of the branches should increase gradually so that the Christmas tree looks like an even cone, but even if you don't like the final look, you'll be able to adjust this easily. Just cut off the tips or bend the branches a little and you get a more accurate result. And the number of branches in a row is also gradually increasing. There are fewer branches at the top. I got only 5. The next row gets 6 branches, then I got 8, 10 and finally 12 longest branches. I did these longest branches a little bit in another way than the others. Making a fork out of them is not looking good already because the ends are too long. Therefore, I made double embranchments here. I took 12 longest twigs from a pile for bases and cut the rest with pliers in half. This will be the top of the branches. And I also picked up some of the twigs from the remaining piles for the second row of side branchings. I'm assembling these longest branches same way as all the others, with the exceptions that after making up a fork, I'm adding one more a little bit lower. I'm trying to arrange the twigs here so that the tops lie like over a circle. The central twig is the longest, the short side twigs go slightly shorter, and the longest side ones are again a little shorter. Of course, everything is very approximate. It's okay if it turns out uneven somewhere. You can always cut or bend the twigs, so there's no need to be very precise. In the end, as I already said, I got 6 sizes of branches, and some leftover twigs I'm going to use them for the top of the tree. Next, let's go for a haircut. To make the tree look more natural, all the tips of the twigs are to be rounded. I'm cutting off the needles in a triangle shape at the top to make the tip pointed. Better if you put something over the table while doing this, because these offcuts become electrified and stick to everything. Best if you'll be able to throw them away immediately after you finish. The next step is snowing. Those lucky enough can buy self-adhesive flocking powder for this, but where I live it's not available, and also this powder is quite expensive, so I decided to use artificial snow for this. I'm gonna make this before assembling to have better coverage and keep it less messy at the same time. Before adhering the snow, I additionally bent the twigs deep down, so that the whole branch gets rounded shape, as if it's bent over the weight of the snow. It looks much more natural and also adds some more volume. After that, I'm coating the needles with white glue and roll in faux snow like a cutlet in breadcrumbs. I poured the snow into a suitable bowl so that the twigs would more or less fit into it. This method of application is much less messy than sprinkling the finished Christmas tree. At the same time, while you are collecting it later, everything that is not stuck well would fall off and you will have less problems with cleaning under finished tree. You may also use some water-based acrylic glue or varnish instead of white glue, or even take aerosol adhesive. Use what is available and costs less. For me, white glue was the cheapest option. If you apply the glue with a brush like I do, better take a white brush, it's way faster. I coated the upper branches from every side because they will look upwards and you can actually see the underneath, and the lower ones are face down and you cannot see the underside, so I only applied snow from above. As for the snow, I used here a package of artificial snow. You can use whatever you get. I think there are sold at many stores now. We'll add some links for where you can find them, and also links for some bonding flock in case you want to use that variant for snowing. By the way, be sure to wear a mask when walking. Even with this method of application, it's quite dusty. For the whole tree, I have used one package of snow and have about a quarter of the pack still left, so even for a bigger tree, one pack is quite enough for you. If you are new, I want to say a big welcome and would love you to join my community by tapping on the subscribe button as well as the bell to keep up to date with everything I have to show. I'm leaving all the branches overnight to dry well, and after that I begin reassembling the tree. First, I'm collecting a small bunch of 6 or 7 single twigs and tie it to the pipe top. The next row, the smallest branches. Sorry, here the camera focus went to vacate a little. Afterwards, I'm adding some more single twigs to make bushy top. I'm wrapping it tightly and I'm ascending again and attaching second row of branches. I'm applying the remaining single twigs and then I keep tying the branches to the main stem, moving downwards and increasing branches size at the same time. I used here metal pipe for the tree stem, actually what was the originally, but one more thing you can do to add to a tree look is to use a real wood stick with bark instead. I think this will take the tree to the whole next level, so to say. It's a pity I didn't think about this beforehand. By the way, to make your tree as fluffy as possible, you can make some extra single twigs and apply these in between the rows. They will create a good volume near the stem and your tree will become even more thick, but even without this it looks very good for me already. At the very end, carefully wrap lowest branches ends with a thread and fix it with hot glue. Now you can spread out the tree. Bend all the branches down, straighten everything and admire what a beauty it turned out for such a small cost. The pipe here resulted to be too long. I used the one from bigger tree, but should have been used the one from smaller one. But that's okay, the base still needs to be changed. The tree came out quite heavy and the stand that originally goes with the tree won't hold it. I decided to make a heavy plaster base, so I'm bending the pipe to the desired length, mix some plaster in a big plastic bottle and put the Christmas tree stem inside. Till the plaster sets, the tree will have to be fixed in an upright position with some boxes so that it stands evenly. To cover the finished base, I took a piece of burlap and wrapped the bottle in it and then tied the top with a rope. It looks now like a nice bag. You can also put the tree into a pot or make a small wooden crate for it. I really like how the tree is looking now, so I think my experiment was a success. Let me know what do you think of this project down below. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.